The Highfill City Council meeting right now to talk about a settlement agreement with Northwest Arkansas National Airport. It's a story we've been following closely since 2023 when X&A first announced plans to detach from the Benton County town. X&A board unanimously approved a settlement in the case this morning that would provide the town with sales tax revenue annually until water and sewer bonds are paid off. However, City Council approved a separate proposal in a meeting tonight. According to Highfill's mayor, more meetings about these agreements will be held in Little Rock. For more about this, you can head to our website at 5newsonline.com. Also new at 6, a person is dead after falling into machinery at a plant in Heavener, Oklahoma. Fuller County Sheriff's Office says a person fell off a ladder into an auger at the Oklahoma Foods plant, OK Foods plant this morning. Right now, we're working to get more details from Heavener Police and OK Foods. Tonight, we're also hearing from a Rogers firefighter after his own home in Spiro, Oklahoma, burned in a fire over the weekend. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi introduces us to Paul Lynn, who says despite everything, he's just happy he and his family are safe.
She called me and she had that certain tone of voice.
Around 11 p.m. on March 16th, Rogers firefighter Paul Lynn says he received the call you never expect to get.
I knew something was wrong, and she said the house was on fire. My immediate answer is, what do you mean? And she turned on FaceTime, and sure enough, she was outside, but the entire backside of our house was just absolutely getting it.
From Rogers, Paul rushed to the damaged home in Spiro, Oklahoma, then went to work.
I grabbed my gear from the fire department on the way to our house, because I passed the fire department. Got to the house, got dressed, ran over to my wife, gave her a hug, and our kid, of course.
Over 20 fire personnel from 3 different agencies responded to the scene. The interior of the house mostly gone, the foundation still holding strong.
Stone walls are still standing, which is, I don't know, that's kind of heavy too.
Lynn says his wife told him that earlier in the night she had heard someone trying to get into the back door shortly after she discovered the fire. When Lynn assessed the damage, he put his 12 years of firefighting skills to use and noticed abnormalities near the back porch that leads him to believe the fire was an act of arson.
And I asked myself that a million times. I was up for a long time, long time. There's no reason in asking why anymore, honestly. We'll never know why. Unfortunate events and unfortunate times.
Having faced countless fires himself, Paul says he is now learning what it means to recover in the days after.
Worked a lot of fires in 12 years, a lot, but when we're done with the job, we leave. I can honestly tell you I have no idea. There's 2 types of people in this world. You can either sit and dwell on it, or you can just find the way to keep going. We're not the dwelling type. We just keep going.
The Oklahoma Fire Marshal's office will now be taking the lead of the arson investigation. Paul says the response from the local firefighting community has been special.
If I would have said yes to everyone yesterday, there wouldn't have been a single Rogers firefighter on duty. They would all have been in my front yard, but we're just at a standstill. I don't know. It's unexplainable, the emotions behind. Everyone says the firefighter family's deep, but you don't really know how deep it is till something like this happens.
In Spiro, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
A GoFundMe has been set up by one of Paul's colleagues, has already collected more than $14,000. If you would like to donate, you can visit this story on our website at 5newsonline.com. We've also learned today a Van Buren man who admitted to attempted human trafficking has his probation revoked. Crawford County prosecutor Kevin Holmes says that Michael Hall received a 32-year prison sentence after he was arrested again in Orlando, Florida in January. Hall initially received a suspended sentence after pleading guilty to attempted human trafficking, terroristic threatening, and aggravated assault. Holmes now says Hall will serve his full 32-year prison term and after the court found he violated those terms. One Barling resident says she is struggling to get help from the United States Postal Service after one of its employees damaged her property. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis visited her today and has all the details.
Rain, sleet, or snow, U.S. Postal Service drivers deliver our mail no matter the weather conditions. But is that the safest practice? Lisa York, a Barling resident, would say no.
I looked out my office window and saw it happening. And I saw her hit the post and knock it to the ground and saw that she was stuck. and she tried to get out for the longest time. And then she made a call, apparently her supervisor at where she works at that post office, and he came out and pulled her out, and they just drove off.
A few hours later, the driver and her supervisor returned, saying USPS would take care of it.
She said, "And you're welcome to drive to the post office every day to get your mail." And I said, "Well, that doesn't seem right."
After multiple calls to USPS, opening and closing at least 2 complaint cases, and no response on replacing the box, York says their solution was to place a plastic delivery bin for mail drop-off at her front door. Feeling helpless, she reached out to 5 News.
I was one of 7, apparently, mailboxes hit that day. And it makes me wonder what happened with the other 6. And just nobody. Nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to do anything.
But someone did help. Since January, Lisa would walk down this street finding a mailbox to put her outgoing mail into. Well, her neighbor Aaron across the street saw her and took matters into his own hands.
After like a month or 2, I was just kind of like, well, I don't know what's happening. She's by herself. So I decided to just give her a knock and say, hey, do you care if I take care of this for you? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. I've been talking to the post office, but she didn't know what was happening. So I said, yeah, I can take care of it.
It just really got me. You don't see a lot of acts of kindness like that. And I'm like, well, how much do I owe you? What do I need to pay you for that? And he said, nothing. And so I got him an Amazon gift card.
Despite York getting what she needed, she still hopes for some justice.
I would want something monetary, and I would just give it to Aaron. I feel like I have been made whole, so I would just turn that over to him.
I reached out to the Postal Service asking how many boxes were hit during the snowstorm and the protocol on replacing mailboxes damaged by employees. In a statement, a USPS spokesperson says property damage is rare and there are specific guidelines regarding tort claims filed by its customers. They say they're sending instructions to Lisa and will continue to work with her to find a resolution. In Barling, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.